y'all tend to describe the music you make? Is it post-punk? Is it something else?
I typically tell people that it exists at the intersection of post-punk, dark wave, and synth pop. If you had like a little Venn diagram, then Urban Heat is that little center of the flower.
Oh,
I think our stuff goes kind of all over the place, and whatever moment during a show or during a listening experience kind of like makes people's eyebrows raise. I think that tends to be when they what they latch onto when describing it, even if that moment is only 10% of or less of what
sure.
else is going on. They're like, oh yeah, they even went here, even though we only went there one time. you know
4 bars of a heavy. We're hardcore now.
there's a metal moment, yeah.
There's a metal moment,
Okay.
Yeah,
hardcore moment for sure too. It's cool.
and more coming, more on the way with the next
True,
record,
true.
yeah.
Damn, you're right. We might end up in a
Metal
metal band.
band before you realize it. Kevin, who were some of the musical influences you had when you were growing up?
Did you say me?
Yes.
Um, I don't know, a lot of like 90s hip hop, Wu-Tang, Beastie Boys type stuff. Obviously grew up like with MTV and stuff in the background, so a lot of like The Cure and Joy Division, New Order, Depeche Mode, a lot of that stuff always kind of around. Then I don't know, a lot of electronic music as the years going by, like LCD Sound System or TV on the Radio, bands like that. But I think our influences are all over the place, to be honest.
Max, who were some
Doesn't
artists you would?
always translate into what we play, but I think that's the beauty of like being an artist and a musician. I mean, you talk to so many musicians who have you by what they play, you would never know that they're like the
That's true.
hugest fans of something else, that doesn't sound nothing like them. So it's kind of cool.
Max, who were some artists that influenced you when you were growing up?
It's pretty much the same. I mean, I grew up listening to what my mother listened to, which was probably like more soul funk, you know, 70s and earlier. And then, yeah, same MTV, listening to hip hop, listening to, anything from like Billy Idol, MTV, Cyndi Lauper, all that stuff. And then, um, back in the day, I didn't necessarily like new wave, um, or synth pop, as you call it. And but then, like you hear it over and over again, and then you tend to love it. So pretty much the same things as what Kevin said. We both kind of have the same musical taste, except for maybe like the mid 2000s music, like the what
Mhm.
is it, the I can't even think of what it's called, but like I like TV on
Indie
the radio,
rock.
obviously. Yeah, indie rock. Some of that stuff I'm just like it's okay, but
Yeah.
it could get a little corny, I guess. But yeah, that's what I listen to. I mean, I listen to a lot of stuff. I mean, I do listen to metal. I do listen to stoner, psych rock, anything that's like I don't know, anything that's kind of dark, and has a group to it. I like it. Yeah.
No doubt.
Jonathan, Say the Words is your new single coming out here tomorrow, and it's a follow-up to Seven Safe Places. I find the song um, a little hard for us to explore. Maybe you're a little calloused by this point since you've had to discuss it a lot. But what inspired Say the Words?
um I think initially the chorus was something that just kind of floated around. It hit me pretty all of a sudden. There's just like the chorus and the melody, and it's really nice. Like sometimes songs come like that, but then the work is like for me, the work is sometimes then writing verses, figuring out what that chorus means, and writing verses to kind of give it context. Um, and I think a lot of it during the process of writing the verses, I think maybe we were seeing cracks in a recent relationship in my marriage, but I don't think that I was actively sort of looking for inspiration from my own life. I was more trying to trying to kid myself into thinking that there was like a fictional narrator that was doing the writing, that was going to be, you know, singing the song. Because that's one, you know, storytelling device. You can, it doesn't have to be from your own experience. And so I wasn't approaching it like that. And then just later, as things in my personal life progressed, sort of realized that that song was very, very much about, you know, I guess it's about, aspects of it are about my separation, but I think it's is inspired by my separation, but more just about the universal sort of feeling of not being okay enough for someone else the way that you are, and sort of putting putting on a facade to make somebody else happy, whether that's in a partnership or with your parents, or, you know, I think truly accepting ourselves has to happen before we expect anyone else to accept us. And I think maybe that's what the narrator is going through. That was a roundabout way of answering.
Jonathan, what is your songwriting process like? Do you tend to need to have that lyric find you the way that it did for this, and then you craft music around it, or is there no typical writing process for you in the band?
It every song's different. Sometimes it will be driving with the radio off and listening to the kind of white noise of the road and sort of hearing music in that. Um, sometimes it'll just be, sometimes there's just a bass line or something, just a melody that's just like, oh, that slaps, and then build something around that. Sometimes it's a lyric. Normally the thing that's consistent around songs that actually make it onto our records and we actually put out is that um there was some moment of sonic inspiration, whether it be a lyric idea or an actually fully formed lyric with a melody, or just a bass line, or even just a drum sample. There's one moment of inspiration that then you're just, then your job is just to go find what else that thing wants to be. It's like the universe gives you a clue, like, okay, here's the clue, there's a song around this, now you got to go find it, you got to like throw things at it and see what sticks, or like carve away from it and see what's really there.
I mean, when it comes to the production side of the music you all make, how hands-on is Urban Heat?
I mean, for the most part, Jonathan like will bring all the ideas and like, you know, production wise, like to the table and kind of like go off of me and Pax's reactions. And then that'll kind of like inspire like what goes forward and what ends up you know, becoming the songs and whatnot.
I have to say this song is a prelude to your upcoming album, The Tower, coming in August. Pax, I'd love to hear what are your favorite songs on this album. Certainly, it's very touching for Jonathan, the whole piece. So I have to I find him biased at this point. But
Um,
is there a favorite
mine
song or
is,
one you
you
guys are
heard the whole
most proud of?
you heard the whole album?
I haven't heard all of the songs, just here or there pieces.
Probably Blindfolds and Magic Bullets would
Okay.
probably be my favorite one. Did you hear that one?
Yeah, I've heard that one. I think you guys, I've I think it's just exceptional the work that you guys have put into the album. It's really such a beautiful through line. And the music you all make, well, certainly you're talented musicians to begin with, but I think this is maybe one of the best albums you guys have put out.
You hear that, Jonathan?
I heard it.
He's cheesing. He's
Yeah,
cheesing.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I,
it's his baby right there.
yeah, I will say, you know, the band let me sort of like this album has been my baby, and I'm excited to put it into the world pensively, you know, all of that. nervous, excited, all of that. But this will be I think that this is going to be the last sort of, this was like my opportunity to take a sonic idea from start to finish and be like, okay, here is the whole concept. And we're going to, I'm I know we should only be talking about the tower, but I'm really excited about the follow-up to the tower, because we're going to approach our songwriting and our production differently. Where the tower is like kind of my only, this is like the Jonathan record. And so like maybe the next one is like, holy shit, I didn't even think about that. We were thinking about the next one being like truly like a collaborative Urban Heat record. But it'd be dope to be like, let's do the Pax record. Let's do the Kevin record. We're like,
where each one of
you know what I mean? We're, well,
yeah.
not necessarily singing and stuff, but really like takes the reins on like, this is my vision for it and this is how we're going to make it, you know? It'd be kind of dope.
Do you want to give away the title of the next record? No, I'm kidding. I will give you a fun fact and like exclusive thing here. Jonathan pretty much wrote this album in less than 2 weeks.
Wow.
Seriously. Yeah. So he was definitely channeling something. I know he'll say there was parts from different things, but he kind of put this whole thing together in about 2 weeks. So that's pretty impressive in my opinion.
Very cathartic for you, that
Thanks,
I'm sure,
man.
Jonathan.
Well, the idea was for this one to be collaborative. That was the idea. And then it just kind of like, I was like, guys, actually here's a
Yeah, we didn't talk for like 2 weeks and he's like, I got a record done. We're like, let's hear it. Oh shit, this is pretty damn good. Let's go with that.
Well, he played Right Time of Night first because he knew by playing Right Time of Night for me, I would be like, oh yeah, this
yeah.
He knows how to work the two of you at this point.
Yes, if we were in Washington D.C., he knows who to like talk to first about what to talk about. So
that's the way that this band has been collaborative, you know, because everything has to pass the Kevin and Pax test. You know what I mean? Like if it plays and like they aren't immediately like, Kevin put it very well, like it's like their reactions, based on their reactions, I go back to the lab, because like if it's not like the head starts bobbing, the feet start tapping, and like a slight smile comes on Pax's face, you know what I mean? Like the best reaction is to play something for Pax and he goes, all right. if he says all right, you're like,
all right.
You're like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Certainly all of the songs on the tower are going to be epic to play live, but is there one maybe Pax you're looking forward to playing live the most?
I'd probably say Blindfold and Magic Bullets. That one's tight.
Kevin?
That was a good one.
Your thoughts?
Save the Thrills. That's going to be a fun one. Yeah. I think Take It to Your Grave is going to be a fun one too. I think that's going to be a fun one. I think we're going to start rehearsing next week for some of that. So that's
Sacrifice Your Masters would be dope.
Yeah, that's what I said. Savor Not the Thrills, the official name of it.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right. You're right.
Jonathan, are any of these songs going to be difficult for you to play live? Emotionally or physically?
Every song is difficult for me to play live. Like, because like truly, like in order to like perform it and for not be performative, like you really have to like dig deep and really go there each and every time. Like that's what the crowd is like there for. Like people paid tickets to like watch the people who made this music like actually like make it, you know what I mean? And like if you just go through the motions, I don't know. That's just, I'm not interested. We're not interested as a band in going through the motions. Like we've done that before when like the sound hasn't been good or like whatever, like the day was whatever. And we were just like, okay, we just got to put it on, and like we do it. But like, you don't want to have to do that, you know? The songs that, so even songs like Seven Safe Places, where like, okay, I look forward to that moment in the set because it's a nice, like, okay, I get a second to catch my breath, but then it's still like, there's just like one line in there that like will make me cry. Like every single time I'll like tear up a little bit. And then it's like, yeah, we don't write like easy songs, you know what I mean? Maybe right time of night emotionally is fine, but then physically that one's a mother, you know? So it's one or the other.
But will there be an upcoming tour then involved with the tower, or are you guys fleshing that out at the time being?
No, we just announced it on Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's yeah, we leave for the headline run July 27th, the headline dates start. But really, I mean, we have a couple of festival dates here in Texas, and then end of July, we head out on the road. Halfway through, the tower drops. We kind of do the West Coast loop, tower drops. We take a little bit of time off, and then we do the East Coast loop.
All right, so you guys have already teased that you're back in the studio, at least working on some new music. How are you going to celebrate though the tower when it comes out? Are you going to be out on tour and celebrating somewhere in person?
Yeah, we have a big album release show the day after the album comes out in Austin at ACL Live, which is going to be a pretty big deal for us to get to do our own show at the 310. But we're also starting that tour at the Roxy in LA or Hollywood, so that's going to be a big like blowout too. Getting to play some of the new songs and stuff. So the whole back half of the year is going to be a celebration.
I'm excited for people to hear it. I really you're going to get a lot of people, I think, reacting in your inbox and telling you, dude, like I feel for you. There's going to be like sympathy, hugs, but
Oh
there's
my
also going to be
gosh.
people who are going to relate to it in a way that I think that you'll be touched by because they'll give you their version of what they went through and how they interpreted the lyrics for their own lives. So I think you guys should be ready for an influx of people telling you this one's a keeper.
I think that's the best thing you can hope for, is that somebody can relate to your work, and it helps them through a difficult time.
Absolutely. With that in mind, then, Jonathan, what would you guys like to say to people who are fans and supporters of Urban Heat?
Thank you, and thank you. I'm not sure, I feel like our community has grown a lot in the last year. And part of that growth has been because we have been like a pretty tight knit community. I feel like we're really tight with our fans. And as that's grown, I think part of those growing pains are like figuring out how to maintain that sort of closeness that we had with the fan base when it was smaller, you know? Um, yeah, there's like so many new people to it that, I mean, I think it's important for everybody to just, I love that music is one of the things that kind of we all have in common. And our music so far has like helped connect people, like-minded people, and kind of like find their tribe. A lot of people who like haven't been able to find their tribe. And so I guess I would want to say to anybody who's part of our fan base who feels like they haven't found their tribe, or like feels like they don't belong, like you do belong. The rest of the world just isn't cool enough. Like, don't compare yourself to everybody else. Everybody else is lame. Like, you're killing it. And yeah, just if anybody's struggling, like, there are brighter days ahead, and like we're gonna get there together. We're gonna figure it out. And maybe we aren't gonna figure it out, but at least we'll fucking not figure it out together.